Okay, let me just explain what we're going to do. We're going to celebrate the Jewish Passover meal. Okay, so why do we do it? Not because we're Jews, but because we want to experience what a Passover meal is like. Because this is a meal that Jesus celebrated with the disciples on the last night. And out of that meal, he took two elements and reinterpreted it. So that today, this becomes what we call the Last Supper or Holy Communion. So on your table, you will see a replica of what is on my table. Okay, my table, of course, is more special. We have a Seder plate, the menorah, okay, nice cups. Okay. So on the table, you have two things. One is a booklet, and two persons will share, so that there are only 4 copies. It's for you to take back after everything is over, because there's a lot of information inside here. Okay, so this is what we call Seder Haggadah. Okay, and it basically is an order of service in which the Jews literally go through on Passover night. So Passover night was actually yesterday, 6 p.m. We're doing it 1 day late. Okay, but it's okay. Doesn't matter which day, because Passover and unleavened bread is celebrated 7 days. So we are on the second day, still within the limit. Okay, and then there's also a song sheet, and we're going to sing songs throughout the service. Okay, and I picked some traditional Hebrew songs. So if you have never sung Hebrew songs, I will teach you a few Hebrew songs. Actual songs which they sing during Passover. And then we put in some contemporary songs as well, so that we can also get a feel of what Passover is like for today. So let me begin by explaining, first of all, 2 words, Seder and Haggadah. The word Seder means order, like an order of service. So what we use today is something which has been written down centuries ago and improved on and expanded, so that today you find there are many versions of a Seder meal. The last count, I think 1,300 over different versions of a Seder meal. Okay, in fact, you can do your own and invent your own. It's just basically an ordered service that goes through certain things, so that you experience what the Jews experienced years ago. Haggadah is a word which means retelling, telling a story. Okay, and on this night, the Jews literally retell the story of the Exodus. The Exodus event was something really very important to a Jew. Today, we are Christians, we don't perhaps experience it as like them, because for them, it is part of their history, part of their spiritual experience. Once they were slaves in Egypt, and then God set them free. So this night on Passover, the father will tell the story to the children. So the Seder meal is actually a family meal. Everyone is involved. So usually when I do it in other places, my table will be filled with people. Okay, there will be representative, a husband and wife. There will be a child. There will be an older person, a younger person. It's a mixed group. Okay, but today I'm told the table is only one person. So I have to invite people to come out afterwards. Okay, so in a Seder meal, basically the Jews are trying to reenact what happened over 3,000 years ago. Okay, if the Passover took place around 1250 BC, that's almost 3,200 over years ago. So every year when they celebrate Passover, they are reliving the experience. That's why we have all these things here. Why do we have salt water? Why do we have bitter herbs? Why do we have this sticky stuff? Okay, it's just to almost go back in time and to be like we Jews then, to go through that experience. Okay, so this is basically an object lesson to learn as we go through the Passover. So 1 day before Passover, they will do a cleaning up. Page 2, you can see the preparation for Passover. They call it the Betikat Hames, cleaning the house of everything that has yeast. Okay, so it's a very elaborate thing of having a wooden spoon and a feather, sweeping every breadcrumb, every biscuit they can find, to clear the house of anything that's yeast. Because leaven or yeast symbolize evil. Okay, and so therefore, before they celebrate Passover, the house will be clean. And so that on that day, when they eat the Passover, we only eat bread without yeast. So the Jewish matzah bread is actually like a cream cracker. You can actually break it. It's very crispy. We are using chapati, our Malaysian version of unleavened bread, equally healthy. Okay, and so we're going to do that. So there's no yeast on our table. Okay, so they do this whole thing, and then the meal begins at 6 p.m., sunset. And it will go on into the morning, sometimes 2, 3 a.m. in the morning. It can even go up in the next morning, 8 a.m., and then the Jews go on to the synagogue to continue their worship. We are not going to hold you through the whole night. We will probably end by maybe 9:30. Okay? So the meal begins with the lighting of the candles. Okay? Like every Sabbath, they light the candles. So candle lighting is actually the responsibility of the women folk. Okay, so we will invite one of the mothers to come, and she will light the menorah for us. Okay. Yeah. There will be, yeah, you can come this side. Yeah. Okay. So as she lights, there will be a prayer that she will say. So let me, you might care to say the prayer for us. Yeah.
Blessed art thou, O Lord, our King of universe, who has sanctified us by the Messiah and has allowed us to kindle the festival light. Blessed art thou, O Lord, our God, King of the universe, who has kept us in life and has preserved us and has enabled us to reach this season.
Amen. Okay, thank you. If you watch the movie Fiddler on the Roof, how many of you watched that movie a long, long time ago? Okay, and there they will sing this wonderful hymn, this song about lighting the candles. May the Lord protect and defend you. May He always shield you from harm. May you come to be in Israel a shining name. May you be like Ruth and like Esther. May you be deserving of praise. Strengthen them, O Lord. Keep them from the stranger's ways. May the Lord protect and defend you. May the Lord preserve you from pain. Favor them, O Lord, with happiness and peace, and hear our Sabbath prayer. Amen. Jewish melodies are very melodious. They're all in minor keys. Okay, so this is one very interesting song which I sing as I light the candles. In a Passover meal, there are 4 cups that we will drink. Why 4 cups? Some versions say 5 cups. So in the early writings of the Jewish people called the Talmud The Babylonian Talmud says that there were 5 cups that you would take part in a meal. The Palestinian Talmud says there were 4 cups. And so eventually they settled for 5. So we drink 4 times, but there's a 5th cup which we don't drink. But that one is Elijah's cup that we will drink. Okay, I will explain that as we come. So why 4 cups? That's because in Exodus, you can see on page 3, God promised to do 4 things for the people. We call them the 4 I will. So the first I will is in Exodus chapter 6, verse 6. God says, I will bring you out from under the burdens of the Egyptians. I will. So when we drink the first cup, it's a reminder that God delivered the people from bondage, and God sent Moses, the deliverer, and God led them out all the way eventually to the promised land. So I would suggest that usually the oldest person, the man in the table, you take the role of the father, and so therefore you have the honor to fill the cups. So let's fill our cups with just about less than 1 cm, okay, just a bit. Okay, just fill it first. Just fill, but don't drink it yet. Yeah, I have a plate. Yeah. No. Don't fill Elijah's cup yet. Okay. Okay, if we are finished, whenever the Jews eat or drink, they always give thanks. Okay. So let me teach you the Jewish way to pray. If you can read Hebrew, it's on the booklet. But if you can't read Hebrew, then you can just listen. Baruch Atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Melech HaOlam, Borei Peri Het Gafen. Okay. Baruch is blessed. Atah is you. Okay. Adonai Eloheinu, the Lord our God. Melech, king. HaOlam, the eternal. So king of the universe, king of the eternal king. Borei, who gave us. Peri, fruit. Het Gafen, from the garden. Okay, because grape juice is from the vine, the fruit of the garden. So the first prayer basically give thanks to God for the fruit of the wine. So I will pray and then we will toast together and we will drink. Okay. So Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Borei Peri Het Gafen. Let's pray. Father, as we begin and drink this first cup is called the cup of Kiddush, the cup of sanctification. Sanctification is a process where you begin to make us more holy each day, to be more like you, to grow in perfection until one day we reach maturity in Christ. This cup reminds us that we are all growing together. You started a good work in us, you will see it to completion. God, continue to be with us and lead and guide us through our life on earth. Our life on earth is like a pilgrimage. Just as the Israelites wandered 40 years in the desert, we travel this earth in that time that you are given to us. And may our wanderings not be lost like them, but rather on the right path. And we will grow to be more and more like you. As we drink this first cup, we give thanks to you for all your grace and all your provision. We give thanks to you in Jesus' name. Let's drink the first cup. They don't toast like we toast in Chinese thing. We don't say yam sing. Yam sing is Chinese. But they will say le hayim. Le is the word to, the preposition. Hayim is life. Le hayim, to life. To life. So there's one song called To Life. So let me teach you how to sing that very simple Jewish song. It's in your song sheet, To Life. To life, Lehaim, 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 to life. We will build and celebrate our people's flight from hate. Drink Lehaim to life, to life, to life, Lehaim, 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 to life. It gives you something to think about, something to drink about. Drink Hayim to life. La 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 la. To life, Lehaim, join me. Lehaim, to life. We are here to revel and celebrate people's flight from hate. Drink Lehaim to life, to life, to life, Lehaim, 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 to life. It gives you something to think about, something to drink about. Drink Lehaim to life. There's only one life to live. So if you don't live that one life that God gives us, it's a waste. So every day is an adventure. Lehaim. Okay, so now you know how to sing this song. So the meal begins first with the washing of our hands. Oops. Okay. The washing of our hands, well, you have the big bowl. Okay, I got to figure out which one. Okay, so it's basically symbolic. You just dip your fingers, and that's it. And then you wipe it with your serviettes. So this part is called the urahas. Rahas is cleansing, cleansing or washing. So we wash our hands, so that when we eat with our hands, it is clean. So let's everybody symbolically wash your fingers in that one bowl, the big bowl. Okay. So you notice the Malays people do that. They have a bowl of water where you wash. Okay, so that we clean your hands before we eat. Okay. So So that one was your washing bowl, okay, your finger bowl. Okay. So appoint one person in the table. Usually if there's a man, then the oldest person will become the host. So you play the role of the father, and you will lead and guide the rest of the group. Okay. Okay. So what do the Jews wear? If you're the man of the house, you wear a kittel. A kittel is a white linen robe, usually worn in times like weddings and festivals like this Passover. I don't have a linen robe. It is supposed to have no pockets and all this, just an outer clothing. But I have the kippah. The kippah is the head covering, so that every Jewish male wears a kippah to show that he is under God. Okay? So for women, you don't wear kippah, because women, you have your long hair, which is your head covering. Men, we don't have that long hair, so we have to wear a kippah. Okay? To show our sign that we are under God all the time. So this has a significance. So each time when they wear the reminder, I am under the covering of God. Women, because of your long hair, you're under the covering of your husband and your hair as well. Okay. So there is also one more piece if you are interested in, and that is the prayer shawl. I bought this in Israel many years ago. It has blue because it is mentioned in Leviticus. Use a blue dye, and then it has tassels. Tassels are these long things, okay? And it's a commandment in the Torah, you should put tassels to the edge of your garments. Some Jews are so fascinated with this, they also keep their sideburns long, and then every day they twirl the sideburns until it goes around like a tassel. So you notice some of those guys in all black and all this, the Hasidims, they all have this long sideburn and they curl it like a tassel. Okay. So a prayer shawl is usually used for prayer. And so I bought this years ago in Israel. Quite expensive, US dollars. So basically you will wear something like that, okay? But for tonight, I'm not going to wear it because I want to be able to sit with you. Okay. So remember, the story of Passover is about the Exodus. So let's sing one Negro spiritual, which talks about the Exodus event. Negro spirituals are songs written by the Negro slaves. They have been kidnapped from Africa and taken all the way to America. And as they live in the cotton fields, they often think about home. The white man gave them Christianity. And so they, with a new faith, they began to sing of their faith. And Negro spirituals are really very deep, moving songs. From the Negro spirituals, eventually come out songs like the jazz and others. So there's one favorite that I always sing, Let My People Go. When Israel was in Egypt's land, let my people go. Oppressed so hard they could not stand, let my people go. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt's land. Tell old Pharaoh, let my people go. Let's go back to the first words and all join together. When Israel was in Egypt's land, let my people go. Oppressed so hard they could not stand, let my people go. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt's land. Tell old my people go. The second verse, thus says the Lord, go Moses say, let my people go. If not, I'll smite your firstborn dead. Let my people go. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt's land. Tell Pharaoh, let my people go. Remember, Pharaoh was so nasty. He made them make bricks without straw. We have the sticky stuff on our table. That is the mortar, which they had to step on, that mud that they used to make bricks. No more shall they in bondage toil. Let my people go. Let them come out with Egypt's spoil. Let my people go. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt's land. Tell Pharaoh, let my people go. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt's land. Tell Pharaoh, let my people go. Tell Pharaoh, let my people go. Tell Pharaoh, let my people go. Man. Well, of course, Pharaoh will change his mind 3 times. Okay. As we begin to eat the different elements on the table, now you will see why we have some of those things. First is the kapas. Kapas is a word which means something that is green, a green vegetable. And so usually we use the parsley. Oh, my parsley looks very dead. Okay, we use Chinese parsley. It can be cilantro, it can be anything. Okay, the kapas is basically something to remind the Jews that eventually when they dip the blood of the lamb, they use a hyssop branch, a branch which they cut from a hyssop tree, and they use that to dip into it, and they sprinkle upon the doorpost. So this will be the kapas. So what they do is then to remember their suffering back in Egypt all those years. You know, as I said, Pharaoh was very nasty. He made them make bricks without straw. How do you make bricks without straw? Pure mud cannot hold together. So they had to cut and chop up the straw to mix with the mud to make. So life was very difficult, and many times they probably shed their tears, which is why we have salt water on your table. Okay, the little pudding with a cup and a cover. So what we do is we take the kapas, take a sprig of kapas, dip it into the salt water to eat, to remind ourselves that our forefathers cried and shed tears while they were in bondage. Life is so tongfu, as we say, so bitter. So I didn't suggest using bitter gourd. Bitter gourd will be worse. Chinese parsley is much better. So dip in the salt water as much as you can, and then you eat it. Okay? So let's try that. Everyone, remember this is an object lesson. Everybody learns and do it together. Parsley in salt water. It's not that bad. Okay, you're all Chinese people. We are used to eating Chinese celery, so that's not a problem for us. But to eat it with salt water is probably a new experience. So as they eat, they will also say a prayer. You notice the prayer now changes a little bit because now it is God giving us the fruit from the earth. So in Hebrew it is Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Borei Peri Hek Adamah. Fruit from the ground. Okay. So salt water represents the tears shed by their forefathers as they work in Egypt. The kapas, which is the bitter herbs that we eat, reminds us of their bitterness as they toil under the sun, building the store cities. Today, the Passover meal has changed a lot. In the beginning, the Passover meal, they eat lamb. Because remember, they sacrificed a year-old lamb. The blood was used to smear the doorpost. They roast the lamb and then they would eat it together with the other food. But today, in the Jewish Passover meal, the lamb is not so important. It is now the bread that is more important. So on your table, you have your unleavened bread. The Hebrew people call this the matzah. Matzah is the unleavened bread. It's shaped like a cracker, about this size. Very crispy, you can actually break it. So plural matzah is matzo. Okay. So usually there'll be 3 pieces of matzah on the table. We don't want to put so many. Why 3? Because they represent 3 levels of society. The priests, the Kohanim, the Levites, the priest assistants, and then the rest of all the other Jews. So each piece of bread represents 3 layers of society. The priests, the Levites, the people. And so what they did was, in that 3 pieces, they take the middle piece and then they break it. So I will invite the host of the table, usually the man or the oldest. You can wear the plastic gloves. Okay. Take the matzah on your table and break it into half. Okay. Break it into half. Okay. Just break into half, don't share yet, okay? Okay. Because the bread which they eat is round and very crispy, and you can break it. And so Jesus also had this very familiar way of praying and then breaking the bread and then sharing it with the others. So it becomes part of that meal. Now what they do is, as the Passover meal traditions began to grow, some of the Jews felt that when you break that middle piece, you take 1/2 and you put it inside a little bag. You don't have a bag in your table, it's okay. Okay. You put it in a little bag, and this piece has a name. Okay. The Greek word is afikomen, coming from the word komos, K-O-M-O-S. Komos means dessert. It's a word which means after the supper, then you continue on eating some more dessert. Like Chinese people, we eat tong sui. That will be our dessert. So this is supposed to be eaten after the supper. So through the traditions, what happened was then it began to grow. Then they decided what to do with this piece. The father of the house will take it and hide it somewhere in the house. Then later the children will then look for this afikomen. Whoever finds it gets a nice reward from Papa. Okay, so they put a little bit of fun into the Seder meal so that children all look forward. So they will say, wow, this year, who's going to find this piece? Where would Daddy hide this piece of bread? Okay, so while everybody's eating, Daddy will go out and hide, and then he'll hide this piece. for us, as you look at it, some of these things don't seem to be like connected to what we do. But remember what Jesus always claimed, I am the bread of life. Okay? I'm that bread that came down from heaven. Moses gave people bread, manna. But Jesus says, I'm better. I am the bread of life. He who eats me will never be hungry again. So today, as we see the Jews, they see very little significance in the bread. But for us Christians, the bread is very important. It represents Jesus. Then, the magid. Magid is a word which means to tell. And basically, it's now the part where they begin to tell the story of the Exodus. Now, for us Christians, many of us are more familiar with the Christmas story because for us Christians, the highlight of the Christian year is Christmas. Advent, 40 days leading to Christmas. And so in Christmas, we have usually nativity plays. I remember taking part in many nativity plays. I play shepherds before, three kings. Don't we all sometimes act out the whole story? So our children grow up with the story of the nativity scene. We all know the story, the shepherds, the manger, baby Jesus, and all this. But for the Jewish kids, they are more familiar with the Exodus story. That is something which they do every year without fail. Every year, around springtime, they celebrate Passover. They will tell this story so that if you are a small kid, you know this story by heart because you literally grew up listening to this story. Okay? The Exodus story is the supreme paradigm of God's deliverance of His people. So as I begin, we pray a blessing over the matzah bread, and this prayer is called Ha Lakma Anya. It's Aramaic for this is the bread of affliction, or sometimes translated as this is the bread of poverty. And this prayer that we find on page 5 at the top is a very old prayer, almost 2,000 years old. The Jews have been praying this prayer, Ha Lakma Anya. So let's pray together this prayer. This is the bread of affliction, which our ancestors ate in the land of Egypt. Let those who are hungry enter and eat thereof, and all who are in distress come and celebrate the Passover. Now we are here, but next year may we be in the land of Israel. Now we are slaves, but next year may we be free men. So this prayer is really very old, about 2,000 years old. Especially after Jerusalem was destroyed in AD 70, and as the Jews celebrate the Passover, this was their prayer. That's why the prayer contains that hope. We celebrate Passover here in this place, Galilee, the Negev, Jaffa, but maybe next year in Jerusalem. Why the desire to celebrate in Jerusalem? That's where the temple is. That's where God is the closest. That's why the prayer is to celebrate Passover in Israel, in Jerusalem itself. So we pour now a second cup, but don't drink it. Just pour again the same amount of them. And now we will get a little boy to come to ask the 4 questions. So who is that little boy that we have all ready to come? Yeah. Okay, so you have the questions? It will be the same. Okay. So you ask a question and then I will answer it. Okay, are we all ready? But we have to wait first. Wait for all the uncles to pour out the wine.
Do I use the cup? Do I use the mic?
Yeah, you use the mic. So you notice a Passover meal is family orientated. Everyone has a part to play. The father is the host, the mother lights the candle, the youngest in the family gets to ask the 4 questions. Okay? And then of course, whoever finds the Afikomen also gets the prize. Okay? So, as I say, every year they ask the same 4 questions. You grow up knowing the answer. It is ingrained in you. Okay? So let's hear from our youngest. The first question that he will ask the father.
Why is it on this night different from all the other nights? Why is it on this night we only eat unleavened bread?
Okay. Why does he ask this question? Because every time when we eat bread, it has always yeast. But this one time in a year, we eat bread with no yeast. Okay, so he noticed it, and so he asked, why is this night so different? Why do we eat bread without yeast? So the father gets to tell the story. Well, son, a long time ago, our forefathers were in Egypt. Moses told them, get ready to leave when I give you the signal. Okay, but you've got to eat a heavy meal to set off the journey into the desert. So when you make bread, don't put yeast in. Because when you put yeast in, you've got to wait for the yeast to rise up. See? So we have no time. Make the bread, straight away go and bake it over the hot stone, and then you can then eat the crispy bread. So because yeast takes time, and we don't have time, we eat unleavened bread. On any other day of the year, we have lots of time, we eat bread with yeast. But not tonight. Tonight, no yeast in the bread because we have to leave in a hurry. Second question.
Why is it on this night we eat only bitter herbs?
So you already have one bitter herb, which is the kapas. You have a second bitter herb, Chinese radish. They actually eat horseradish. But I don't think Malaysia we can find horseradish. So this is a Chinaman version, not so bitter. Okay, horseradish, you eat, it stings your tongue. Okay, but this is much better. And then we have a third bitter herb, romaine lettuce. Okay, so this is the hazareth, and this is the maro, and this is the kapas. So 3 bitter herbs, all in one night. Wow. Okay, so why is it night we eat only bitter herbs? See, all the veggies are all bitter. No nice lettuce, no nice cucumber, whatever. Celery, radish, romaine lettuce. Well, again, son, our forefathers worked in Egypt. They were not on holiday, when they worked in Egypt, Pharaoh was very nasty. Pharaoh wants them to make all the store cities. Then make them have to make mud bricks without straw. And so they have to step on the mud, and try to mix them. All this life was really very bitter. And then we shed so much tears as we cry, and we ask God, don't you see this? Okay, will you not send a deliverer and set us free? So we shed many tears. That's why we eat bitter herbs tonight. Really, 3 kinds of bitter herbs. Okay, third question.
We dip twice the karpas in the salt water and marrow in the carousel.
So we have already done the first one. We took the celery and we dip it in the salt water. We will do a second dipping using the marrow, and then we will dip it into the haro set. That will come later. Okay. So this night very special. 2 times we dip things into things that don't match. One is bitter and one is saltish. One is bitter and one is sweet. Okay. Well, there's a reason. The bitter herbs remind them of the bitter suffering. The salt of the tears remind them of the cries. Remember at the beginning of the story, Pharaoh was very nasty. He knew that people were very productive. The Hebrew people were very productive. There are lots of children. and he felt that they were growing bigger and bigger, and the population was growing stronger. He ordered a genocide of all male babies, drown them in the river Nile, save only the baby girls. Because when the baby girls grow up, they'll be girls, so less threat to the empire. The boys, when they grow up, they can become soldiers and strong. That's a threat, so kill them. Drown them in the river Nile. How many baby boys were drowned? We never know. That's why we also shed our tears for those baby boys who died. Innocent babies, all because Pharaoh didn't like them. And that's why we dip. So on the first night, first time we dip, we take the bitter herbs, we dip it in the salt water. But the second time we will dip, again bitter, but time in sweet. To remind us that life has its bitter moments, life has its sweet moments. Life in Egypt was bitter, but then one day we will leave and we enter the promised land, a land flowing with milk and honey. That's why in anticipation, we will learn to dip bitter into sweet, and you'll see how they will balance each other. Okay? Very interesting way of eating. I'll show you how to really eat it the nice way. Okay, fourth question.
Why is it on this night do we all of us recline?
Recline. Okay, when the Jews, in the time of Jesus, they were under the Roman Empire. They were not free. The Romans were the masters. And Roman free men, when they eat, they don't eat like what we do Chinese style around a table. They have beds around the table where they recline to eat. You know, when you recline to eat, that's a very comfortable position. Ever remember, imagine eating grapes? Take a bunch of grapes, you recline there. Free men, only free men do that. You have all the free time in the world, you take and eat. So the Jews decided, we're going to celebrate Passover, but we're not free. But we want to do it like free men. That's why they will actually hire rooms, have tables like that in the shape of a U called a triclinium, with all the beds at the side, and they will recline there and they will eat and dip their bread in a sauce and eat like free men. Don't care whether we are still slaves in Rome. Once a year, we behave like free men. That's why we recline. Okay? So today we don't recline, we all sit as proper people. Imagine if one day you're going to put all the chairs with tables and then you sit and recline, and then you understand the story. Jesus will recline on his left hand side and you eat with his right hand. Remember to read the story, the disciple whom Jesus loved leaned against Jesus' bosom. Because if you are reclining next to me, sometimes you put your head on my chest. Yes. And that was John. John was Jesus' beloved disciple. Okay? And so Peter would have asked John, hey, ask the master, who is the one who will betray? And then Jesus says, the one whom I will dip the bread in the sauce and pass to. So Judas was behind Jesus. See, when you see the whole sequence of the reclining, John in front, Judas behind, Peter there, all asking the question. So today we don't do this. That's why we miss out the part of the story of the conversation that was taking place. But this question was changed. The original question was, why is it on this night the meat is roasted and not boiled? Okay. This time we have roast lamb. Okay. Sometimes when you eat lamb, you boil the lamb in hot water and you can still cook it. But this time they roast it. Okay. So that was the original question. But after when the temple was destroyed and they no longer eat lamb, so today Jews don't eat lamb on Passover. We are different. We are Christians, so we have lamb on your table for you to eat. Okay. But the lamb is to remind us that at the time they sacrificed, the temple was there. They could bring all the lambs to the temple, and then they sacrifice it there, and then bring it back, and they roast the lamb to eat. So they changed the question, why do we all recline? Because we are free men. Thank you, young man. Yeah, well done. So because we are free men, we do things like free people. So there's one song which is in Hebrew, Avadim Hayenu. Okay. Avadim is the Hebrew word for slaves. Evet is a singular, slave. Avadim is a plural, slaves. Hayenu, we were. Okay, it's the verb we were. So, Avadim hayenu, slaves we were. So, put in good English, we were slaves. Akta. Akta is the conjunction noun. Okay. Bnei Horin. Ben is a Hebrew word for son or child. Banim is a plural, children. Bnei is a construct, say children of. Children of Horin. Horin means free. So now, children or sons of the free. So we put in good English, once we were slaves, now we are free men. Okay. Hebrew is very concise, very precise. We don't need so many English words to sing. So just 2 lines, sing it in 3 different ways, and you have a whole song called Avadim Hayenu. I will go slow first because I know Hebrew is a tongue twister for many of you. Okay, so let's read it together first. Avadim Hayenu, Hayenu, Akta Bnei Horin, Bnei Horin. Then the second verse, Avadim Hayenu, Akta Bnei Horin. And the third verse, Avadim Hayenu, Akta Bnei Horin, Bnei Horin. Okay. You sing it slow, and then we go faster a bit. Okay. So fast means eventually when we sing it, you can imagine the mood of the song. Let's go slow. Avadim Hayenu, Hayenu, Akta Bnei Horin, Bnei Horin. Avadim Hayenu, Hayenu, Akta Bnei Horin, Bnei Horin. Second verse. Avadim Hayenu, Akta Bnei Horin. Let's try the second one. Avadim Hayenu, Akta Bnei Horin. Okay, then the third verse. Avadim Hayenu, Akta Bnei Horin, Bnei Horin. Akta Bnei Horin, Bnei Horin. So we just have to play around with the words and we sing it. Okay, let me show you how when we sing it a little bit faster, it will sound like this. Avadim Hayenu, Hayenu, Akta Bnei Horin, Bnei Horin. Avadim Hayenu, Akta Bnei Horin. Avadim Hayenu, Akta Bnei Horin. Akta Bnei Horin, Bnei Horin. Avadim Hayenu, Hayenu, Akta Bnei Horin, Bnei Horin. Avadim Hayenu, Akta Bnei Horin. Avadim Hayenu, Akta Bnei Horin, Bnei Horin. Akta Bnei Horin, Bnei Horin. When you sing this song, you cannot sing it seated. Because you have to sing and dance. Because once we were slaves, now we are free men. So you're going to sing it with gusto, okay? So you can imagine how to sing with gusto. You can't sing it seated. Avadim hayenu, hayenu. Akta b'nei horim, b'nei horim. Avadim hayenu. Akta b'nei horim. Avadim hayenu. Akta b'nei horim, b'nei horim. Akta b'nei horim. Let's go faster, baby. Avadim hayenu, hayenu. Akta b'nei horim, b'nei horim. Avadim hayenu. Akta b'nei horim. Avadim hayenu. Akta b'nei horim, b'nei horim. Akta b'nei horim, b'nei horim. This song is almost 2,000 years old. Okay? And this is Jewish melody as you sing it. Slaves we were, now we are free. So put it in good English, once we were slaves, now we are free men. So for us Christians too, we are people who are free and set free by our deliverer, Jesus. Now come to this part where it's an object lesson for the children to learn about the 10 plagues. When you read Exodus, you realize that there is no mention of the word plague. Moses and Aaron were doing signs and wonders. It is we modern people who call these 10 things the 10 plagues. So in Hebrew, they are called Esed, which is the word for 10, Makov, 10 plagues. And so you have your, well, we are supposed to use a dinner plate, but now you have your dinner packet. Just open the cover and flip it the other way around. Open your package, your food cover. You're not eating your food yet. We just use the cover. Open the cover and flip it the other way around. Okay? So that you have the inside of the cover facing you. You just put it back on top of the food box. Okay? Just put it back on top of the food box, but now you have the cover. So put the cover on top of your food box. We're going to use the cover. Put the cover on top of your food box, but just reverse it so that it's the inside that's facing you. Okay. And then we will have our cup, which we fill but we didn't drink. And we're going to use this in your dinner cover to do the object lesson. So Sunday school, you can learn this for your children. Okay. So let's pray. This faithfulness it is that has stood by our fathers and us. For not one man only has risen up against us to destroy us, but in every generation do men rise up against us to destroy us. But the Holy One, blessed be He, deliver us from their hands. So, each time when I explain about the plague, what you do is, you now do the role of God. Imagine God take His little finger, dip it into the grape juice, and you put that one drop onto your cover of your dinner plate. Okay? So that each time when we do the one plate, you dip your hand inside and then you put down. Don't do it yet. Okay? I'll tell you each time and then you do. So when we have a round plate, you can put all the drops like the positions like a clock go around it. So there will be 10 drops, each one representing one plate. Now children will love to do this because then you can imagine learning. So remember when Moses and Aaron went to confront Pharaoh, they had to demonstrate signs and wonders to show that their God is more powerful than the gods of Egypt. First thing remember they did was they used their staff and they threw it down and it became a snake, a serpent. Well, the Egyptians, wise men and the magicians copied that sign. They also threw down their staff and it also became serpents. Except that Aaron's rod ate up all their rods. But they're still not convinced. So God had to give them 10 plagues triplets of 3, 3, 3, and a final one at the end. So they come in circles in a cluster of 3, 3, 3, 3, and then the final one. Because after 3, Pharaoh say, you can go, then he changed his mind. And then after another 3, Pharaoh says, you can go, but before they can leave, he changed his mind. And then did another final 3, and Pharaoh still hardened his heart. And then there's one outside the cluster of 3, the final one, which is darkness. And then finally, Pharaoh relent. So on your dinner table, take a cup. Everybody does it. Dip your finger, and the first plate is the plate of blood, dam. So put one drop onto your plate. Dam, blood. Remember Moses took his staff and touched the waters of the Nile, and the waters of the Nile turned into blood. So that nobody could drink it. Okay? But interesting fact is, the first sign, the magicians also copied it. They also brought water, and they also changed it to blood. Magicians can change sometimes clean water to blood. They have a special ring that has a little hole here, and they have red powder in the ring. They just and then you see it change. So they can also counterfeit and copy. The best part is they can't change the blood back to water. They can only make water change to red. Okay, they try to copy that, but they cannot change the blood back to water. So that was the first. Now we use a little finger because God is so powerful. We doesn't need to use the index finger. The little finger of God is so powerful against Pharaoh that we use the little finger to dip. So okay, second plate, frogs. Okay, and then you dip it onto the plate. Okay. Remember out of that blood-filled river now came out frogs. Ribbit. Frogs by the hundreds, by the thousands, okay, jumping all over the place, landing on your food, your table, and when you sleep, you have this, no, you can't sleep in peace. Okay. And then the frogs died, and out of the dead frogs come out gnats. Okay, give it the third drop, put it down on your plate, gnats. The Hebrew word is kinim. Kinim is any small insect that's troublesome, like mosquitoes, gnats, flies, lice, fleas. Okay, it's a whole range of things. So all those insects came, but imagine flying all over the place. You breathe, you get sucked in. You open your eyes, they get into your eyes. You eat your food, they land on your food. No wonder Pharaoh finally said, okay, again, enough, Moses, you can leave. So Moses began to get the people to leave, but then Pharaoh changed his mind. Remember why Pharaoh changed his mind? I'm letting go all these Hebrew slaves. Once they have gone, who's going to build my store cities of Pithom and Ramses? No more free labor. So he changed his mind. And then you refuse. God says Pharaoh will harden his heart. Okay. So comes the next triplet. So the fourth plate, dip the little finger into it and put it on the plate. This is now flies, the plate of flies. Arop. Flies are really very a nuisance. I find flies nuisance, okay? Buzzing around, flying around, landing everywhere. And each time you land on food, they'll lay their eggs and you can see one line of eggs there. Terrible. And if you're not careful, you can all eat two. Okay, so imagine flies are nuisance. And yet Pharaoh still no, he doesn't want to change his heart. Then comes the fifth plague. So now let's do the fifth plague. And this is pestilence. Okay. And that is the word devil. Pestilence is the disease that afflicts. Okay. Afflicts the plants, and the plants grow all these fungus or whatever, and they start dying. And yet Pharaoh still hardened his heart. No, I'm not going to let the people go. So comes the number 6 plague. Boils, shehin. Boils are very big pimples on your skin. Okay? I call them big pimples. They are eruptions where they get pus and all this. Boils are really very painful. I remember when I was young, I used to have one boil on my buttock. And I had to go to school, and those days in school we sit on those wooden chairs. How do you sit on wooden chairs when you're a boy and a buttock? So I go to school with a pillow. I had to sit on a pillow. Okay? And when I go and see the the HA guy in hospital, the only way to get rid of a boy is press to get rid of the pus. I can tell you it's very painful when you press a pus, when you press a boy. Okay? So that amazing man, Job, was afflicted with boils from the sole of his foot to the crown of his head. Notice it's a reverse direction. We always say, when God afflicts us on the head to the feet, but this is from the feet to the head, reverse direction. And the reverse direction is actually what is mentioned in the covenant curses. God will afflict us from our foot to the head. Now, on the foot means if you have boils on your foot, you can't walk. Every walk is painful because all your pimples there, And then when you have boils up onto your head, you can't even comb your hair. There are boils. Okay. Terrible to be afflicted with boils. So at this 6th plague, Pharaoh changed his mind. Oh, okay, go. But again, thinking of the loss of free labor, he hardened his heart and refused. Then comes the 7th. The 7th plague. Dip your little finger and put it on the plate. This is the plague of hailstones. Barat. In Malaysia, we do get hail. Small little pebbles, sized like bean bags, little green pea size. You know them when you hear on the roof. Sometimes you hear ta during rain time. Those are hailstones hitting. But hailstones can be very big. I've seen hailstones the size of marbles. But they're hailstones sometimes the size of tennis balls. Those are very dangerous. They can actually shatter your windscreen. Imagine being struck with a round piece of ice the size of a tennis ball. You can pecah your head. Okay. So when you rain hail in the land of Egypt, not in Goshen where the people were, but in the Egyptian side, the hailstone destroy whatever harvest there was. Destroy all the standing grain, the wheat, because all those hailstones will pummel all the wheat and they will all be broken stalks. Then, after the hail, you see what God does? He sends the locusts. Arabah. So, number 8, the plague of locusts. One time in the prophetic book of Joel tells us that there were 4 types of locusts that came and ate up everything. Jumping locusts, hopping locusts, whatever locusts. Each one came and walled up everything. Anything that's green, they'll eat up. You can go and Google on YouTube, locust plague Israel. Every few years in summer, the locusts will spawn and come out from the desert looking for green. Anything that's green, they will eat until there's nothing left. That's how devastating. So imagine your wheat, every stalk has been broken by all the hailstone, then comes the locust to clean up all whatever is broken. So there's no food left. And yet Moses knows Pharaoh is still hardening his heart. Then comes the 9th plague, Hoshek. Darkness. What is strange about this darkness is it's only dark in the land of Egypt, but not in the land of Goshen, where the Hebrew slaves were living. So it's like walking and going through an invisible border, sunshine at this place. I just walk, next moment, darkness. And it's so dark, it says they can't even see their hands in front of them. Have you ever been to a dark place so dark you can't see your hands? When I went to Sinai Desert in 1999 and climbed Mount Sinai, in the desert it is so dark you can't see your hands in front of you. You can try to open your eyes, you cannot see anything. That's how pure dark is dark. Okay? We live in Malaysia, there's so much artificial light, so much light of the sky. We can actually see our hands. But here it was like pure darkness. And the darkness is only on the side of Egypt, not on the side of the Hebrew people in Goshen. And here, Pharaoh still hardened. Now, this 9th plague is actually very interesting. Why darkness? Because Pharaoh is the son of the god Ra. And Ra is the sun god. So if the Son of the Sun God cannot prevent his nation from darkness, he's supposed to give light of the sun, and yet now darkness has overwhelmed his land. So it's like a slap in the face of Pharaoh. Final plague, slaying of the firstborn. So we dip and we put the final drop of the plague. And this is the firstborn. Now there's no disease in the whole world which only kills firstborn. Every disease will just kill without without knowing. No, it's not like cancer comes and say, you're firstborn, okay, you die. Secondborn, okay, you're spared. No disease can calculate whether you're firstborn or secondborn or thirdborn. And it affects not just human beings, all firstborn, even animals. The firstborn of your cow, the first calf that's born, it dies. Your firstborn dog, it dies. Your firstborn cat, everything that's firstborn dies. Secondborn, thirdborn, fourthborn survive. Okay. Now, why hit the firstborn? Firstborn is often the heir. Okay? When the father eventually grows old and dies, the son, the eldest, will be the heir, and he inherits the father's inheritance double share. Again, it's like a slap in the face of Pharaoh. God will slay his firstborn. Because Israel was God's firstborn, Pharaoh tried to exterminate God's firstborn, the Israelites. God said, tit for tat, I whack you and I take away your firstborn. So Pharaoh lost his firstborn. Okay. Whereas God's people survived. So this story, you can teach it in Sunday school next time. Get the little children to dip their little finger into the wine, and then you repeat that cycle of the 10 plagues. 3, 3, 3, and then the final one. And the Jews were singing a very nice Hebrew song, Dayenu. Dayenu is a word which is the word for day, enough. Enu, to us. It is enough to us. And it's a song which sums up the story of the 10 plagues. And it's a song which you can see as the people sing. It's in the book. It's printed in the book. So Dayenu originally has 15 verses. We're not going to sing all the 15 verses, okay? We will just sing 3, but let me explain the translation. So if you cannot find it, it's in the next page, page 7. Okay. In the chorus, Dayenu, D-A-Y, means enough. Enu, to us. It is enough for us or sufficient for us. So Dayenu, we often then put it in good English, it is sufficient for us. What is sufficient for us? Well, the Jews will sing about the Exodus event. If God has brought us out of Egypt, that will be sufficient for us. If God only just give us the Torah and no other books of the Bible, it is sufficient for us. If God give us the Sabbath day to enjoy, it is sufficient for us. Okay? So out of that realization that God has given them all this, they created a song. So the verse is, there are 3 stanzas. Ilu hotsi anu mimis rayim. Hotsi anu mimis rayim dayenu. Ilu is the word if. If, hotsi is he deliver. Anu is the us. If he deliver us. Mim Mizraim, from Egypt. Okay, Egypt's name is Miz. M-I-T-Z-R, Miz. And then the ending Ayim is a dual ending because Egypt has 2 lands. Upper Egypt, Lower Egypt. That's why they call it Mizraim. Land of Upper Egypt and Lower Egypt. So Ilu Hose Anu, if he deliver us from Egypt, dayenu. It would be sufficient. Second verse, ilu natan. Ilu is if. Natan is he give. And then lanu to us. If he give to us, es Torah, the Torah, dayenu. It would be sufficient. Third verse, just changed one verse here. Ilu natan lanu, if he gave to us, es Shabbat, the Sabbath, dayenu. It would be sufficient. So again, I go slow so we can pick it up. Okay. Ilu hotsi anu mimisraim hotsi anu mimisraim dayenu. Ilu hotsi anu mimisraim hotsi anu mimisraim dayenu. Dayenu, 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 dayenu. Second verse. Ilu natan lanu es Torah lanu es Torah dayenu. Ilu natan lanu es Torah lanu es Torah dayenu. Chorus. Dayenu, dayenu, dayenu. Dayenu, 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 dayenu. Third verse. Ilu natan lanu es Shabbat lanu es Shabbat dayenu. Ilu natan lanu es Shabbat lanu es Shabbat dayenu. Chorus. Dayenu, 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 dayenu. Dayenu, dayenu. Let's all try from the beginning. Ilu hotsi anu mimisraim hotsi anu mimisraim dayenu. Ilu hotsi anu mimisraim hotsi anu mimisraim dayenu. Dayenu. Dayenu, 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 dayenu. Second word. Ilu natan lanu es Torah lanu es Torah dayenu. Ilu natan lanu es Torah lanu es Torah dayenu. Dayenu, 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 dayenu. Dayenu, dayenu. Let's do the third word. Ilu natan lalu es Shabbat lalu es Shabbat dayenu. Ilu natan lalu es Shabbat lalu es Shabbat dayenu. Dayenu, 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 Da da yenu, da da yenu, da da yenu, da yenu, da yenu. This song is over 1,000 years old, okay? So when you sing it, you're singing like all the Jews sung in all the years. Okay, yep. Okay. As I say, we are going through the whole night, okay, but I'm going to hold you. So here is, let me just explain as we go into the 4 elements. You can read the rest of it. So originally the Passover had only 3 things. The lamb, because they were asked to take a young lamb, roast it, and the blood was used to sprinkle upon the doorpost with a hyssop. So that every Jewish home was marked with blood on the doorpost. When the angel of death passes over and he sees the blood on the doorpost, he spares that home. So the Egyptian home do not have that blood spare on the doorpost. So that's why they eat that lamb, and they roast it and they eat it in haste. The second element then, of course, was the bread. And remember, it was special bread, bread without yeast. No time to allow the yeast to rise up, so they eat it unleavened. And the third element, of course, was the bitter herbs. Okay, the kapas. The bitter herbs to remind them of the bitter summer. They could have picked any nice vegetables in Egypt, but they picked the bitter herbs to eat. Today, the Passover meal has grown, and you can see now 6 things on the table. Okay, we have added in 2 more bitter herbs. We have the haroset, and we also now have an egg on your table. Okay. So some people, they don't use an egg, they use an orange. Also can. Okay. Now there's no hard and fast rule what you can use. Why egg? There are a few reasons. One, the egg is round, symbol of life, the circle of life, the seasons of the calendar. They went through winter and now it's springtime. Remember, Passover is celebrated in springtime and it's a time of new life. So egg represents new life because from there the egg yolk, a chick will be born. So today they put an egg, and sometimes they don't like eggs because they think of too much cholesterol, they put an orange. Okay. You have the roast lamb, but today in a Jewish meal, the lamb is a shank bone. Just a bone of a lamb. Okay? Just to remind themselves, we used to eat lamb, but now the temple has been destroyed, and there's no temple for the last 1,900 over years, so we don't offer any more lamb and don't eat any more lamb. The bread has second importance. Then you have this sticky stuff, the haroset. There's no fixed recipe. Okay? You can make it any style you want. The whole idea is something sticky to remind you of the mud which they make. Remember, they used to step on the mud mixed with straw. So this is my recipe. Raisins, sultanas, almonds, fruits, honey, and red wine. The wine that is inside here is wine from Israel. You guys are blessed. I opened my bottle of Cana wedding wine to use for this. So when you're eating the wine in this, it is really wine from Israel. Okay. So you have now, it has grown into 6 elements. So today that's why they added in more. Okay. So now we drink the second cup. The cup, remember, has been filled. This cup is called the cup of rejoicing, or the cup of instruction. Okay. And it's a reminder that God made a second promise, the second I will, in Exodus chapter 6, verse 6. God says, I will rid you out of their bondage. Okay, so this was a promise. And of course, now when you celebrate the Passover, we are no longer in bondage, we are free men. So we pray the same Jewish prayer, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hek kafen. Let's drink this cup together. Le hayim, to life. Now as we eat the bread, again we clean our hands, so we dip our hands in ceremony in the water, the rahaz, which is what we call the cleansing of our hands. And now they say the prayer for the bread. So I'm skipping some parts. So now we are on page 11. And this prayer which we pray in Hebrew is the standard Jewish prayer when they give bread gave thanks to God for bread. And imagine Jesus will say this in Aramaic, which is a related dialect to Hebrew. Okay, I don't know much Aramaic, same writing, but the pronunciation is different. But in Hebrew, it will sound like this. Imagine Jesus taking that bread in front of all the 12 disciples, and he does it in his usual way. He pray and then he break. Baruch atah Adonai, Elohelu melech haolam. Natan lalu lehem hek gafen, who gave us bread from the ground. And then Jesus will break. So the host, you wear your gloves, you take that bread in the table, you now break it and you share it with the rest of the table as what Jesus did. Remember, Jesus broke the bread and he began to share with the disciples. So the host, you wear your gloves, you take that middle bread that's in your table, and then you break it, and then you give it to each person in the table. And remember, Jesus said, "This is my body broken for you." And you can eat this bread. This is given to you. Okay, now to make it more interesting. If you have not eaten your bread yet, you take a piece of bread, take one of the marrow, and you put the haroset together with the marrow on your bread. Okay, take the haroset, put it with the marrow, the horseradish, onto the bread, and this is called Hillel's sandwich. This was the way this Jewish rabbi used to eat bread with the marrow, with the haroset. I can guarantee you it's a nice dish, okay? You eat it together. Bitter and sweet. So when the disciples of Hillel asked the master, "Why do you eat it this way?" Well, he gave an explanation. We eat the bitter with the sweet to remind us that bitterness does not last forever. God will come and deliver us and set us free. So this way of eating is called the Hillel's sandwich. Hillel was one of the great teachers of the time of Jesus. Hillel and Shimei, two great Jewish rabbis. And Hillel, of course, is remembered as the one who advocated a more lenient way to look at the Torah, whereas Shimei was a more strict observant of the Torah. So today, he left behind this practice. So we eat the bread together with the haroset and the marrow. At this point, we have reached 2/3 of the Seder meal. It's time for dinner. And so when you read the gospel message, this is the time where they break off and eat the normal meal. And then after supper, Jesus will return back to the Passover meal and continue the last 1/3 of the session. So at this point, we are going to adjourn for supper. So now you can open your bento box and eat the chapati and whatever they set for you. Okay, I will come down and join one of your tables to eat because I'm not going to eat here alone. We'll give you 15-20 minutes to eat your dinner. Don't drink the grape juice. There's still 2 more cups to use, okay? So drink from your mineral water.
It's okay, my testing. Is it good? Yeah, okay, great. Good evening, everyone. Those of you who are joining us via whether it's on Facebook or whether it's on our website or is it on our YouTube, welcome to our Good Friday Seder meal. It's good to see you all. And as you can see now, we are currently breaking for fast. And this is the first time in our church history, actually in SJAG, that we are doing this very special occasion of going through the Seder meal that actually represents Jesus' death as well. And so now we're going to go around tables, and we want to ask some experience from our members and their thoughts, what they're going through right now as they eat their supper. So let's just follow me and let's just go around and we ask how are they experiencing this whole Seder meals program. Come. We probably ask around some of the tables here. Hello, welcome. We are on a live stream right now, for people watching us, and probably want to ask around how's the experience right now, going through the Seder meal. Anyone want to say something?
No, this is our father. We just let our father.
This is your father. Okay, this is the eldest of the father of the table. Okay, all right. So the father would like to maybe, wow.
It's a very interesting experience that we are going through. That really put us into Jesus' time. That really they have gone through a lot of bad experiences. So we are so blessed we can have all this food.
Okay, guys, there are also a plate of lamb. You can eat the lamb.
So much. So yes,
But
it's
don't
actually
eat the
experience
one on
of
the
going
Seder
through the
plate
bitterness
yet,
of life.
okay? We haven't
And
finished the Seder, okay? But you can eat the lamb, you can eat the horseradish.
And check out what
Chinese
they have
radish
as well in
and,
store for us.
lettuce on the table as well, parsley, whatever. Finish up everything.
Hello, everyone all finally having a supper. All right. Anybody want to share some thoughts of how they're experiencing through this Seder? Anybody want to share? Or we're busy to eating? Okay, let's. Yeah, I'm very hungry. Okay. Because you only have about 15 to 20 minutes to eat already. All right. So yeah, this table is just enjoying their supper right now. Okay, let's go to another table. Brother Paul Wu. Okay, eat first. Yeah, there's a lot of people all having their supper right now. All right, want to maybe share about experience about as we go through the Seder. What is the experience, or how do you feel about it? Maybe it's just a short thoughts.
This dinner, the experience is just quite normal. So something different. It's quite good. Some new experience, new discovery.
Were you curious about what is Passover all about?
No, because I read a lot of it. I know something like that.
Yeah. But you're going through it right now, right? How are you going to feel?
Yeah.
All right, good. Okay, enjoy your supper. All right, let's go to another table. Okay. May I ask here who is the head of the host? The head. You all right, Brother David? Okay. All right, maybe other than you, maybe there's someone else that can share what you're going through the experience right now through the whole process of the Seder. Anybody want to share your thoughts?
You want me to share?
Can.
Okay.
The camera as well.
Okay, this is something different, totally different, for 1 hour. And now only I understand how the Jewish, when they celebrate this Passover, this so-called Seder meal, it's really an experience. I mean, if you ask the Chinese will not do it. To spend 1 hour to eat this way, I think the Chinese, this is... I don't think they can really spend so much time just to eat a meal like that. So I think it's an experience, to understand how 2,000 years ago, how they really eat. But I think it's also good to understand that. Yeah, that's it.
Right. And then actually it also kind of represents how Jesus went through the Passover and also how he actually instituted the communion, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, of course, because of we are a believer, then we begin to understand, we are trying to relate how, the Jewish people during those times, how they really go through and understand the forefathers they go through. Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, enjoy and continue to eat your supper. You only have about maybe another 14 more minutes to go. All right, let's go to another table. Especially, we're actually getting a lot of very good positive feedback as well. Especially, they're going through the very wonderful experience journey of the Seder meal. Let's go for here. Okay, hello and good evening. We are currently on live stream right now. All the viewers are looking at us eating and munching. Maybe is there someone who would like to maybe share a bit of what you're going through the experience and how does it touch you as well through this Seder meal? Anybody? Just a few thoughts on it. Sinve? Yeah.
Sorry, your question again.
Your thoughts on all the, especially when you went through from the first until now, when you're having your supper.
Thoughts something very interesting for me. I mean, it's my first time having a Seder meal, so everything is new, and I mean, there's a lot of meaning behind.
The elements.
Yes. So yeah, I think I've learned a lot.
Okay. Anybody else here from this table want to share some thoughts? Don't worry, we don't have a lot of people watching. Yes.
The experience is just like we are transported back to the days of Egypt where the people were suffering, but the thing realize the amount of suffering experience, and it's really an eye opener for us. And the meal brings so much significance to the experience of them. That's all. Thank you.
Yeah. So the experience is you're going through it as well, and then you can kind of like see going back to the past, right? Right. Okay. Wonderful. All right. Continue on having your supper. Thank you so much. Right. Maybe we go to this table as well. Which table? This table. Okay. Hello. We are currently on live stream right now, and I'd like to probably interview someone here. Maybe you want to share how you're going through the experience. Maybe the host of this table would like to maybe say some few words. Yeah, what's the experience right now? I mean, your thoughts, your honest opinion of we're going through this process.
It's a very good experience, knowing how the Israelites went through, during those days. So at least we live it today, lah. So I think something very different for us, lah.
It's very meaningful when you learn all these different elements.
Yeah, of course. At least now we know the significance of each of the elements that are on the table, or rather the elements that were used during those days. It's 2,000-3,000 years ago.
And then you sing very old songs, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you so much. We want to go through, have your supper, enjoy yourself. All right, thank you. Okay. Hello, good evening, everyone. Everyone having their supper. Right now, we are on live stream, and probably we would like to have somebody here to share your thoughts on the whole Seder program. Anybody would like to share some few thoughts or what you're going through, and something that it really strikes you as well as you enjoy this whole process?
So it's been very enlightening. So it's like to go through as if what Jesus and the disciples go through. Right. So it was very experiential and I think really eye-opening for us. So thanks for the experience. So enjoy the meal. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. Let's go to another table as we want to get some more opinions. We are seeing a lot of positive as well. It's not just a traditional, a Passover celebration or tradition, but rather it's also quite relevant to us as well as Christians. All right, let's go to another table and ask some more good feedbacks as well for this Good Friday Seder meal. Hello, good afternoon. Oh, this is the kid who was asking 4 questions. How do you enjoy it? Huh? Okay, he's out of questions already. Okay, good. Anybody here would like to probably share a few thoughts of today's Seder meal, especially you go through different the practices of how the Jewish see different elements and how they actually interpret it, and how is it relevant to us as well. Anybody want to share? Maybe the host of the table. Wait.
It's a very good experience. It's just like going through the Bible story itself.
Yeah.
It's good experience.
So in a way, can help you to see the experience of what the Old Testament people were going through at the time, the Israelites, right?
Yes. The Bible come alive.
Bible come alive. Okay. Now you're experiencing it through eating.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. Okay. Good. It's an experience. They're going through it as well. Come, let's maybe ask another table and also see what they feel through the experience. All right. Who is the host of the table in this place? Oh, okay. No, the elders of the host, the head of the table. All right. Maybe you can just probably share for everyone. about your experience of your, especially go through this Seder meal. You know, what the significance of it and how does it impact you as well, and you know, learning about all the different significance. Just few thoughts from you.
What can I say? It is very interesting to know about the culture, the history behind it, especially, and significance of everything, the bread, the meat, the drinks, and stuff like that. So it's interesting to know. Yeah, really interesting to know, and you can see the connection between that Passover and the new covenant that we have, which is in Jesus Christ.
So in a way, even through the going through this, the Jewish tradition, and also seeing it, how does it relate to us as well as Christians to Jesus? So there's a connection there, right?
Yes, there is, definitely is. Because after all, Jesus is our Passover lamb. So that says it all.
Right. Thank you so much, Brother Eddie. Right, there's such a connection from the Passover lamb to Jesus. Maybe we're going to ask another table, see what's their opinion right now. Hello, we are currently on a live stream right now and just doing some interview, and maybe someone here, the youngest or maybe the second youngest, who would like to share their thoughts on the Seder meal. Jason, you want to share? Just maybe... Yes, actually it's everybody's first time going through this program, this so-called occasion. Or maybe Jason, you want to share, as you go through it? Yeah.
Okay, this Passover meal for me is like a nice meal. It's like a game, It's like when the person, like when the pastor is talking about a meal, I was like looking at what he's talking, and then I read also together. It's like a game, like you slowly where you play and then you will try to eat. You will learn how to eat such different kinds of food. From the different cultures, like the lamb that they roasted, and then like the herbs, and then the horseradish, got some salt also. It's made me learn also not only about the Bible but about different cultures that from is Jewish culture from Israel. That is I like the most.
So you get to experience what the other cultures, how they interpret different elements, especially it, right? Yes, you want to say something?
And I actually like tasting different things.
Oh, is it? Which one you like the most?
The lamb, dude.
The lamb, okay. How about the bitter celery, the one you dip it into the salt water?
That's probably weird. That's probably weird. I tried before. Oh, but the sauce didn't do any taste. But it doesn't matter. I just still eat it.
So you can go through bitter life,
Sorry, what?
I mean, when you eat the bitter, the celery with the salted water, it's supposed to taste bitter, but you didn't taste it bitter, right? Was it bitter? No?
Don't say it. Only a little bit.
Little bit lah. Okay, good. Well, we can see that the experience actually helps them to kind of learn from about different culture. All right, so rather than having our own Malaysian interpretation, we are able to actually experience Jewish culture, how they taste and how do they interpret different elements, and how do they even relate back to their forefathers and even back to their ancestors as well. Wonderful. Thank you so much, guys. All right, maybe you want to go into this table. This table, I think, almost done with their supper. And may I ask who here is the eldest or the host of this table? The head of the table. If you admit, then you have the privilege to go and share everyone's opinion about going through this Seder meal. First time, right? You're going through the Seder meal? Yes. Brother Lau, you want to share something?
Something very special. It's the first time, I think, for me to eat this Seder meal. Quite significant. Maybe because the time it was a bit late, but the food seemed to taste very nice. Thank you. We have this opportunity to enjoy this Seder meal. Thanks.
All right. Thank you so much. Appreciate. Yep. the later the meal, the delicious it becomes more. Tastier the food. All right, let's go to another table and let's see, maybe get some opinions as well. All right, maybe this table. Hello, good evening, everyone. And currently we are doing a live stream. All right, and probably I want to ask somebody here, probably want to share something, an experience, a thought of the Seder meal. Who's the head of the table here? Arthur. Okay. And you're done. So you can answer me. Okay, Brother Arthur. Okay. You first. Okay, let me try to articulate my question so that you can probably answer it very nicely. So, what is your experience as we go through this Seder meal, and probably you observe those who are seated with you together?
This is my first time experiencing it. I find it something very, thinking back, how many thousand years ago, putting back into that picture, and then Elijah sitting down there looking at us. And all my fellow family members. So everybody having a good time and a great experience for us. Once in a lifetime.
Would you like to do it again next time in Israel?
Okay, while you're eating your meal, let me continue on
I'm still alive. I'm 75 already.
Alright. Thank you so much, Brother Arthur.
The other part of the Seder meal.
All right, now we are going to continue on as Dr. Loke will take
now,
over
just
for
the
us.
last part
Thank
of-
you.
Actually, less than 2/3. Less than 1/3. Okay. So remember the bread that the father used to hide, the afikomen. Okay. So that was a piece which supposed to be very special. And usually you give it to the person whom you like the most. So Jesus, remember, took that bread, dip it in the sauce, and pass it to Judas of all people. Okay? So Judas ate the afikomen, which is very interesting. Some scholars say this is like Jesus giving Judas a last chance. Judas, will you change? Will you turn around? Or will you still betray me? Remember, the afikomen is often given to the person you like the most. Okay. And it's like Jesus saying, you can be part of us. You don't have to leave this place. Join us and continue on with the meal. But Judas left. And John says it was night. Okay. So after the supper, you notice that you read the Gospels, after the supper, he took the cup. And remember, in the Passover meal, there are 4 cups. That means the 3rd cup is the cup that becomes the Last Supper cup. The 3rd cup of wine is the Holy Communion cup. Not the 1st, not the 2nd, not the 4th, but the 3rd. Because after supper, he took the cup. So let's fill our cup. If we have lots of things left over, you can put a bit more now. Okay. This is the cup of redemption or the cup of grace, Baruch. And this one is to represent the 3rd I will that God promised to the people. I will redeem you with an outstretched arm. Okay. So this is the cup the Jews say represents the blood of the Passover lamb. And this is the cup that Jesus will take and say, this is my blood shed for you. Drink this in remembrance of me. Okay. So we will pray for this cup, and we will bring this cup which represents the Holy Communion cup for all of us. Okay. So we are ready with the cup. So this cup is a very special cup. This is a cup that Jesus took and transformed it to represent his blood for us. Just as the afikomen, that piece of bread, was his body, this cup is now representing his blood. Okay, let's pray. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam bori peri hek gafen. So as you drink this cup, this is a cup that represents Jesus' blood. Let's drink it with thanksgiving. Amen. So there came a discussion about the fifth cup, Elijah's cup. Today you can buy an Elijah's cup from Israel. It has its own name there, Eliyahu Hen Navi. I didn't buy it. To me, I don't need to buy an Elijah's cup. But you notice on your table there's a chair and a sitting reserved for him. And the Jews do that. Every year in the Passover table there will be a place reserved for the prophet Eliyahu. Because they believe that, well, on one hand, he didn't die. Remember, Elijah didn't die. God took him straight to heaven in a chariot of fire. So the Jews always ask, why did God spare Elijah and not let him die? Is God saving him for another purpose? And when we read Malachi, the last chapter, it says that God says, I will send my messenger to prepare the way, and he will turn the hearts of the father to the children and the children to the father. The Jews believe that Elijah will come again before the Messiah returns. So today in the Passover meal, there is a cup for him, and there is a place for him. And at every Passover meal, the children, one of the kids will be asked, go and run to the door and open the door and see whether Prophet Elijah has turned up to join us in the Passover meal. So the little kid will run to the door, open the door, no prophet. No prophet means what? The Messiah is not coming this year. Because they believe that if the Messiah were to come this year, Elijah, the forerunner, will come first. And he will appear at the Passover meal and he will drink from his own cup. So the Jews have been waiting, poor Jews, have been waiting for 2,000 years for Elijah to turn up. And we Christians say Elijah already turned up in the form of John the Baptist. John the Baptist was the forerunner of Jesus. He has already arrived. So the Jews are still waiting in vain for Elijah to drink his cup. But for us, we know John the Baptist already drank his cup of suffering. He died, remember, beheaded. The fourth cup now is called the cup of praise, Hallel, the cup of thanksgiving. And this represents the fourth I will in Exodus 6, verse 7. I will take you to me for a people. God makes a covenant with his people. I will be your God and you will be my people. To us Christians, we see more to this cup. To the Jews, the cup represents the hope of the Messianic kingdom that will come. For us, as Christians, this is the hope of Jesus' return. So when we drink this fourth cup, we are reminded what Jesus said. Remember what Jesus said? I will not drink of this cup until I return. Okay? So this fourth cup is a cup which we drink in anticipation of Jesus' return. And when Christ returns one day, we will then join him in heaven and we will eat and drink at the Messianic banquet. So let's fill our fourth cup, our final cup, and we will pray and we will drink this cup of Hallel. So are you ready to drink the fourth cup? So when we drink this cup, it reminds us, Jesus says, I will not drink of the fruit of the wine until I return. It's a promise which we hold true. One day when he returns, we will then drink together with Jesus. So, Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam haolam borei peri hek gafen, creator of the fruit of the wine. Let's drink this cup in anticipation of Jesus. Maran Atah, Lord, come. In the Gospels, remember in Matthew, it says, after they have eaten everything, they sang a hymn. And after singing the hymn, the supper concluded, and Jesus and the disciples went to Mount of Olives, to the garden called Gethsemane, to pray. You know, the Jews actually read a Hallel psalm at the end of the Passover. In a booklet on page 14, I've given you the references. It is Psalms 113 to 118, and sometimes also include 136. These are psalms which they will pick and sing as one of the Hallel psalms at the conclusion of the Passover meal. So go back tonight and you look at Psalm 113 to 118. Ask yourself, which one did Jesus sing with the disciples before they went to Mount Olives, to the Garden of Gethsemane? Okay. So, as we conclude, I must teach you this very interesting song about Passover. It's a song we all know the music. You may not know the words. Okay. There are a lot of Yiddish words in this song. I'll pass over things. So let me explain the Yiddish words here. Cleaning and cooking and so many dishes. Out with the hamas. Hamas is the yeast, the leaven. No pasta, no nishes. Nishes is a type of bread which has filling inside, and they bake it or deep fry it. It's a very Eastern European dish. Nishes. We don't usually eat it. Okay. Fish that is gel-fitted. Gel-fitted means they take a fish and they debone the fish, take the meat and make it like a fish ball, like what we do today. Gel-fitted fish. Horseradish that stings. These are a few of our Passover things. Matzah is a bread. Kapas is the bitter herbs. Chopped up haroset is your sticky mortar. Shank bone that represents the lamb that they don't eat. Kiddush. Kiddush is a Yiddish word which means childish things. Childish, they use the word kid instead, so Kiddush. And then Yiddish neurosis. Now when you are a Jew, especially, you have all these funny cranks and all these neuroses. They call it. Tante that catches. Tante is your favorite auntie. And the word covetous means complain. An auntie that always complain and an uncle that always sing. Because in the Passover meal, that's what they always find. Some of these relatives will come and they will sing. Motzi and moro. Motzi is the bread that you make into bread ball. Instead of fish ball, you make bread ball and you float them in the soup to drink, to eat. Okay? So motzi are bread balls. Moro is the bitter herbs. Trouble with Pharaoh, famines and locusts and slaves with wheelbarrows. Matzah balls, floating and eggshells that clings. These are a few of our Passover things. Cleaning and cooking and so many dishes. Out with the hummus, no pasta, no nishes. Fish that's gel-fitted, horseradish that stings. These are the few of our Passover things. Mazars and kapas and chopped up harosets. Shank bones and kiddush and Yiddish neurosis. Tante that catches and uncle that sings. These are the few of our Passover things. Motzi and moro and trouble with pharaohs. Famines and locusts and slaves with wheelbarrows. Matzah balls floating and eggshells that clings. These are the few of our Passover things. When the plagues strikes, when the lice bites, when we're feeling sad, we simply remember our Passover things, and then we don't need feel so bad. It's a song that when you sing it, you understand what Passover is, because this is what Passover is. They have all the elements of the Passover meal inside a song. Okay? It's a nice song to sing. Cleaning and cooking and so many dishes. Out with the hummus and pasta, no nishes. Fish that's gel-fitted and horseradish that stings. These are the few of our Passover things. Mazar and kapas and paparos and shank bones and kiddush and Yiddish neurosis. Tante that catches and uncle that sings. These are a few of our Passover things. Motzi and moro and trouble with pharaohs. Famines and locusts and slaves with wheelbarrows. Matzah balls floating eggshells that clings. These are the few of our Passover things. When the fleas bite, when the lice bite, when we're feeling sad, we simply remember our Passover things, and then we don't feel so bad. So the Passover meal will go on, and they will tell stories, sing songs, and many more Jewish songs that you can sing, but we have to stop for tonight. And as they conclude, they always have a prayer, and the prayer is Le Shana Have Ba'a Birushalayim. Okay, what does that prayer mean? Le Shana, to the year. Have Ba'a, the next. Birushalayim, in Jerusalem. It means next year in Jerusalem. So they always end the prayer because the hope is if we can celebrate the Passover in Jerusalem, that is the place closest to where God is, where the temple used to be. Okay. So let's all pray. Le Shana Have Ba'a Birushalayim. Okay. Le Shana Have Ba'a Birushalayim. Next year in Jerusalem. So let's end with one worship song. Hodu Lek Adonai Ki Tov. You have sung it before. Okay. But it's a song which is in Hebrew. Okay. So perhaps if you have never sung it in Hebrew, it might be interesting to know what does Hebrew actually. Okay. Oh. Is it in your song sheet? Yep. I don't see in mine. Okay, got. So Hodu is give thanks. Let Adonai to the Lord. Ki tov, for his good. Ki le olam hasdo, for to eternity his steadfast love. It's taken from Psalm 136. We often sing it in English, but we don't realize the Hebrew is very simple. Hodu, give thanks, let Adonai to the Lord, ki tov, for his good, ki le olam hasdo, for to eternity his steadfast love. Hodu, let Adonai ki tov, ki le olam hasdo. Le Adonai ki tov, ki le olam hasdo. Hodu, 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 le Adonai ki tov. Hodu, 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 le Adonai ki tov. Eloheha Elohim, to the God of gods, ki le olam hasdo. Odu le Eloheha Elohim, ki le olam hasdo. Give thanks. Odu, 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 odu le Adonai ki tov. Odu, 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 Adonai ki tov. Let Adonai ha Edonim, to the Lord of Lords. Odu, le Adonai ha Edonim, ha olam hasdo. Odu, le Adonai ha Elohim, ki le olam hasdo. Let's all stand. Hodu, 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 le Adonai ki tov. Hodu, 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 le Adonai. Let's sing it a little bit higher. Hodu, Adonai Kito Kile Olam Hasdo Odule Adonai Kito Kile Olam Hasdo. We can sing it in English. Give thanks, give thanks, give thanks, give thanks, give thanks to the Lord for He is good. Give thanks, give thanks, give thanks, give thanks, give thanks to the Lord for He is good. Hodu, le Elohe ha Elohim, Ki le olam hasdo. Hodu le Elohe ha Elohim, Ki le hasdo. Give thanks, give thanks, give thanks, give thanks, give thanks, give thanks to the Lord for He is good. Give thanks, give thanks, give thanks, give thanks, give thanks to the Lord for He is good. To the Lord of Lords, oh, to le Adonai ha Edonim, Ki le olam hasdo. Adonai ha Elohim, Ki le olam hasdo. Hodu, 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 le Adonai Kito. Hodu, 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 le Adonai Ki. Give thanks, give thanks, give thanks, give thanks, give thanks, give thanks to the Lord for He is good. Give thanks, give thanks, give thanks, give thanks, give thanks to the Lord for He is good. Lashana Haba Birushalayim, next year in Jerusalem. Amen.